Wow. The light is shining right in my eyes. Son of a gun. Okay. Oh, there are some people here. Hi. Okay. By the way, it looks as if I always come in a little bit late, and it looks as if it may just have to be that way at this point. Hi, Myra. Because Poshmark does the final sharing of the day. They have their final party of the day. Oh, hi, Marla. They have the final party of the day at 10 o'clock my time. So it's been a nutty day. Yeah, it's been a nutty couple of days in my world. So yeah, it's been really crazy. It kind of started. Oops, my phone cord is caught. Bear with me for a minute. Wow. Okay. Yeah, all right. I guess, yeah, we have about 6 people in the room. There are a few people. There are a few things that I want to kind of play catch up with tonight. The first thing is I did have a long conversation with Mary the other night, and it was wonderful to actually have the chance to talk to her. And it was, it's a funny thing. There's a very strange thing that happens here in this incredible world that we live in as part of this YouTube community. There are people that we don't know, but we do know, if that makes any sense. You feel an instant connection, we do, with each other so much of the time. And it's as if we have been friends for years and years, and we really care about each other and we care about what happens to each other and all of that. So, yeah, I will go into that just a little bit. I also wanted to bring you up to date, those of you who know that I was not feeling well, and it's been about a week and a half that I wasn't feeling well. I finally went to the doctor, so I'll bring you up to date with that. And the third thing is that the guy that I have been going out with also, coincidentally or otherwise, has not been feeling well. And he actually not only went to the doctor, but he wound up going to the hospital. So it's been a jam-packed time with all kinds of really odd stuff going on. On the plus side, Mary does exist, and she is a lovely lady who's going through a hell of a lot. I am still alive and ticking, and everything looks as if it's okay. And um, he is out of the hospital and back home, and they couldn't find anything wrong. So we have fingers crossed that everything for all of us is going to be in the process of getting better. At least we hope that that's the case. And that's all that we can do at this moment in time. I think for him, the doctor was concerned because he had been having a pain in his neck, but then he got a little bit dizzy. He had been feeling a little weak for about the past week and a half, and then he got a little dizzy, so they were concerned. So they wanted him to have an MRI. And the interesting thing is that he experiences the same thing with an MRI that so many other people, myself included, experience, and that is that claustrophobic kind of feeling. So he was not at all a happy camper. Originally, his test was scheduled for Saturday at a different facility that has the stand-up one. Yeah, yeah, I told him, I said, the two of us, I said, I have a great big flash for you. I said, we're getting older and falling apart. I mean, it just is part of the deal. And if you don't, if you know, you really can't make it through each day. But again, they can't find anything. So I'm praying that whatever this is, my doctor had said to me, all my blood work came back today. I went at 5 o'clock yesterday because he had to squeeze me in. He was away for the holiday and he drove 6.5 hours on Tuesday to get home. And he called me as soon as he got home. And when he heard how I was feeling, he told me to come in yesterday, but he said he was going to have a crazy day because he just got back. So he told me to come in at 5, which I did. So 5 o'clock yesterday, from 5 o'clock yesterday to today at 8 o'clock in the morning, he had the results and he called me and he woke me. I had already been up, I had already let the dogs out, and I had already fallen asleep again. So I was a little bit nervous last night because I was really worried about the tests that he was having. And so I didn't go to bed with an easy mind. I was really concerned. So again, I mean, everything that shows up looks okay. The doctor said to me, possibly it could be something viral. And of course, for me, there's a little concern that, please God, it not be anything serious, or only because when it was, and when I had gone to the doctor and the doctor said it wasn't. So I don't really want to overlook anything at this point. I want to be sure that I'm doing okay and headed in the right direction. And I can only hope that I am. So that part of it is all good news. And okay, so let me get to the Mary thing. And again, without getting into any great detail, and certainly without churning anything up again, um, we talked about all of the things that we all go through, and we have our own physical issues. And her son, of course, has his, and has gone through a hellish time more than once. And again, as we all know, it's bad when it's us, it's worse when it's them. So, as I say, we talked for over 2 hours about everything, about growing up, about how things were when we were younger, and all of the difficulties that we face that bring us to this moment in time. So, again, she's doing the best she can, and she was not able to go out to California immediately. And again, without getting in, let's not chew that over again. And Lance is going for 2 more tests, I believe, next Monday and next Tuesday, if I didn't foul that up. So I don't know how soon we'll hear anything after that, but it's going to be those 2 days. And it is difficult for her. And as she explained to me in terms of why they're staying at her daughter's house, I mean, thank God she has that option, because they do have apparently some kind of facility. And I don't want to be getting this wrong because, when somebody gives you a great deal of information, it's so easy to say it wrong, interpret it wrong, get it wrong. But absolutely, absolutely prayers for him, and that everything should go well. Nobody knows at this point, but I just hope. I wish I could remember what the 2 tests were, but I don't, so forgive me. Um, yeah, I can't. Oh, one of them is going to be the biopsy. One of them is yeah, and they said that was going to take hours. So yeah, they need all, and of course, once you get a biopsy, you don't have instant results. The results take time. I remember when I went. So it's going to be a bit of a process, but I'm sure that she'll let us know, and that a filter, oh, the filter was the other. I do remember something about that. You have to forgive me, but as I say, I mean, I was not feeling great myself, and I did not get a whole hell of a lot of sleep last night. Yes, I think you're right, Myra. So, I was really, I started to tell you the reason that they're staying at her daughter's house, which is a considerable drive, and it's difficult for them, and it's not the best thing in the world for him, but it's a necessity for two reasons. There is some kind of a facility where out of town people can stay at a reduced rate of some sort near the hospital. The problem is apparently twofold, and I don't know if Mary's listening to this or if you hear it in the future, Mary, forgive me if I got it wrong. But number one, they didn't have any vacancies. And number two, apparently there is it might be for the other place. In order for insurance to pay for it, the doctor had to write something up and they needed 14 days to do it, and there's never 14 days between appointments or till the next appointment. So it made it all but impossible. So they're driving through all that horrific traffic, and to do all of that stuff, it is money going out exactly, and it's money that they just don't have. And it's a funny thing, this thing we call life, because no matter what your situation, your station, if you will, your status in life, your financial situation, at any given time in your life, it can change. And it can change on a dime. So we don't know we don't know what other people suffer. And we just need to really be mindful that it's 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 tough. It really is tough. So I'm very glad that we all have each other to kind of talk to and commiserate with and learn from and, you know, pray for, have prayers sent our way for. And it's all so helpful. It really is. I know I find even I don't go on to Instagram all that much, though I've got to start to do it more because I know it's an important thing for me to do for the business that I'm trying to gear up. But whenever I see the people that I've become close to, I'm so happy to see them and I'm so happy to see their posts and I'm so happy to see what's going on with them. Marla, if you're still on, I have to tell you, every time I see you and the dogs, I smile. It just makes me smile. It's a wonderful thing. So I think that we're very blessed in that, having that. This is really funny. I keep hearing all those dings in the other room, which means that I guess messages are coming in. One of the problems that I have is, well, a lot of the things that I'm on, they ding you constantly with messages about everything. And I'm so used to it, I don't even pay attention to it anymore. But it can be annoying. It really can be annoying. I have to remember very often to put my phone on vibrate. I have been going to the gym religiously until a week and a half ago, and I stopped because I wasn't feeling well. And I just didn't have the stamina to keep doing it. And I really miss it. I really do. Going to the gym for me has been really life changing in so many ways. I never did exercise in my whole life. I did buy an exercise bike a number of years ago. Did I hear from Sheila? No, I did not hear anything from Sheila. Hi, Chris. I had an exercise bike. Unfortunately, I put it together myself. I was so proud of myself. And I started to use it, and that was when my legs started to bother me. It has a very high X to get over. because it's a small footprint bike, and it was a wonderful bike. I absolutely loved it. The problem was that's when I started to feel the pain in my right thigh. Never occurred to me that there could be anything there. I just thought I strained it or whatever. So the bike sits there. But doing the bicycle in the gym, doing the steps really helps me a lot. Interesting thing is also, I had bought this pair of shoes before my surgery. Oh, it started to flood. Oh, swell. Yeah, I know that there was a problem. Yeah, I know that there was a problem, but yeah, I didn't know that it had started to flood. It's not the first time, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, and of course, the other thing that we were talking about, you know how for such a long time, all of us in this community who have known Carol Pereira have been so worried about her. We really have, and we've tried to locate her, and we really were concerned because she was so close to so many of us. Well, I have really good news thanks to Sheila. Sheila heard from her, and the fact that she is there, and I believe, I believe the message was, I'm back, or something like that. She had commented on Sheila's video. So I am personally thrilled just to know that she's okay because, again, she's one of the group. She's one of the people that I love. And I was really worried about her. I really was. I am also really worried about Mahela, who was so much a part of my channel from the start. She had a lot of medical issues of her own, and I lost contact with her. I had tried to reach her a number of times. I would pray that we have the same kind of outcome for her. So I think, yeah, that was just unexpected and wonderful, wonderful to hear. So thank you for telling us, Sheila. Yeah, right. I'm just really grateful. You know something? As much as we all love this place that we call our YouTube home, it's a tiny little part of our real lives. And life sometimes takes precedence. It just does. Because there are so many things going on, or there are things that you need to address, you need to work on, you need to, hi, Denise. You just, you need to take care of things sometimes. And this becomes secondary. I edited a whole video today. It's another get ready with me, but it's actually a get ready with me using a lot of the all the old stuff that I had gotten, and I hope you like it because it's long. So eat watermelon. Okay, I'm sure there's some subliminal message there, but yes, indeed, watermelon is a good thing. I want to go back on my green drinks because those green drinks were very, very healthy. And I really felt so good when I was doing that, when I was juicing. So I want to go back to that. And I really feel as if, the way that I'm eating when I'm not going out. Oh my God. Oh, it's my nighttime guy again. This is amazing. Oh, sorry about that, Myra. Yeah, what happened? What happened was I bought these before the surgery because I was looking for slip-in kind of things. Your 32-pound watermelon. Oh, okay. I didn't know what I'd be able to wear or not be able to wear or whatever. In the beginning, this would never work for me. I needed a much sturdier shoe. This is like a, ballet slipper shoe. But I put them on the other day for the first time, and I have to tell you, it really, I guess because they're so flat to the ground. Oh my God. Hold on one second. This guy, he's not stopping. Just bear with me for a minute while I send him a message so he'll stop for a little. Well, he won't stop, but maybe he'll stop for a minute. Um, oh, come on. I'm sorry to do this. Okay. Um, Hopefully that'll stop it. It might not. Yesterday he called me. I was on the phone with him for 2 hours. I seem to have these very lengthy kind of conversations. Back to the shoe. The reason I think maybe this thing works is it's such a flat shoe that I feel very stable walking in them. And I hate it for driving. It doesn't give me the kind of control. Yeah. So it just, but it feels good to walk in these. I mean, I feel pretty steady on my feet. Today, if I didn't fall over, it was a miracle because I went out to lunch. The girls took, Jackie took me out to lunch again, and I was waiting for her. She had said she was coming at 12:15. I should know better. She is never, ever on time. We laugh about it all the time. So by 12:30, I thought I'd better go outside. I don't want her to wait for me. So I went downstairs and I sat in my car with my feet outside just so that I could sit instead of stand and wait for her. And all of a sudden, a bee flew into my car. Well, I don't do bugs really well. I went flying. For somebody who can't walk too well, I took off. I was a little unsteady on my feet, but these shoes, I was really right there at the ground. So it is what it is. And no, I don't. I don't bring my cane with me most of the time, Myra. I have it in the car so that when I go out by myself, if I know I'm going to be in a situation where I have a lot of walking to do alone till I get to someplace, exactly the fight or flight response. But I don't use the cane. I'm really trying to be as yeah, as self sufficient as I can and be able to function without it. It's funny because when I was in the hospital in rehab, and when I was doing the physical therapy, and the therapist took away my cane one day, and he wouldn't let me hold on to the wall. They had a railing along the wall, and he wouldn't let me hold on to it, and he told me to walk. And I said, I can't do that. And he said to me, yes, you can. He said, the problem is you don't know you can do it, but you can do it. He said, there is nothing wrong with your walk. You are not unstable. He said, you are not falling over. It's not as if your knee is giving out under you, so you can do it. And it took me a long time to have the faith, especially after that time when the dog got out because somebody left the gate open, and I tried to walk fast and fell in the street. And of course, I fell in the street when I went to that meeting, that posh party. So it was not good. Yes. Wait a minute. Wait. Sandy wants to know if I'm going out with the guy I spoke to for 2 hours and the guy from the hospital. Oh, she wants to get my dance card right. Oh, oh, this is not good. This chair just kind of moved on its own. What am I doing? Oh, that's the wrong thing. Better. It sort of went back on its own. That was a little scary. Um, we're okay. Yes, I have been out a couple of times with the guy I spoke to for 2 hours just for lunch. And yeah, the other one I've been going out with for a couple of months now. I sat on the remote. I don't think so. The remote is right here. But yeah, it was kind of scary. I have done that though. I have been known to do that. And again, I mean, this chair, God bless this chair. This has been a lifesaver so many, many, many times. So I'm grateful for it. I am so happy that I made the decision to reach out and start dating. Not for the, I mean, yes, for the dating itself, but because it put me back in the world at large. And I had willfully taken myself out of that world. I had retreated into a world in which I was very busy. I was working a lot. I was doing a lot of things, but I wasn't living a life. And I deserve, I think, as we all do, if we choose it, to live a life. And only we can choose for ourselves what that is and what that means and, how it manifests. But it has been such a positive force in my life because it makes me know, number one, I am not alone. Number two, I can have a life if I want it. And number three, that I can interact in the world. For me, for a very long time, holidays were terrible because holidays were the days when everybody else was with family and with people they loved. And I was always waiting for the day to be over to get back to work. It takes me back to when I was working in hospital administration many, many years ago. We used to have breakfast. Well, we used to have bagels and coffee in this room, the doctor's lounge, and every morning. So the doctors would come in, I would be in there, we would all chat a little bit. And I remember talking to one of the doctors one day, and he was talking about his recent vacation and how great it was and whatever. And we were talking about vacations and work. And I said, I love to work. And he said to me, the only people who say things like that are people who don't have a life. I didn't really pay attention to it back then, but he was right. He was absolutely right. Yes, I didn't love my work per se. I loved aspects of it, but I didn't, I did something on relationships, but I didn't do anything recently. And I definitely want to do that. I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much. And, relationships are tricky business at any stage of life. As we get older, it's like we all have our own stuff that we bring to the table. And, I had said at one point very recently I had been referring to him as Paul, I believe. I had said to him, where's Linda's do-over? I know I have to do Linda's do-over. I think Linda's more amenable to it. For a while, she was in a terrible depression. During the end of George's life, George was the guy that she had been going out with, even though she had stopped seeing him a long time before, I think realizing that his life was coming to an end was hard for it was hard for her to deal with. And I think she's closer to ready for it. I had mentioned it to her, I guess last week. I said, "Let me do your makeup. Let me get you started on something." So yeah, I'm hoping that she does let me do that. But going back to the relationship thing, I had said to Paul at one point that recently, I said, "So, aren't you happy you met me?" I mean, because I have all these ailments and all these things that go on. And he said, "Absolutely, I am." And he said, "Yeah, baggage." So I started to laugh. I really did. It was a joke. He didn't mean it, but he was right. I have baggage. We all have baggage. And relationships, it doesn't have to be male, female, or I shouldn't even put it that way. it doesn't have to be a relationship like a love connection. It can be relationships between parents and children, siblings, friends, people who know each other and are acquaintances and are working toward a friendship or have a friendship, but on some kind of limited basis. Relationships are tricky because we all have things that trigger us. We all have things about which we're uncomfortable. We all have scar tissue in our lives. I always refer to it as that. The things that happen to us over time that make us react in a certain way to something that reminds us of that initial trauma that gave us those feelings, whatever those feelings are. So it's not an easy thing, but I think it's so worthwhile. It really is so worthwhile. Once again, the last day that we have on earth, I have no doubt. Nobody says, I wish I had made a dollar more. Nobody in my business says, I wish I had sold one more house. I, I wish I had bought more clothes. I wish I had an extra car. It's all about relationships. It's all about caring. And I think that's really the important thing. The smell of Bengay, huh? Yes, I know you definitely have that going for you, but it's interesting and it's definitely something I want to expand on more. I need to get more information though. I need to get farther into it. You know what I find really interesting too? So many of my friends and some of my colleagues at work have been asking me about my dating, and they all want to know everything. They really want to know everything. And it kind of makes me smile because what it tells me is that they're looking for something to get excited about because I think our lives can become mundane on a day-to-day basis. So there is that one thing that's really kind of exciting going on. I have to tell you, I think I should have said this to Jackie today, that sometimes I think that they want me to go to lunch because they want to find out what's going on. So it's and don't get me wrong, I'm not negating the incredible, sweet act of including me in the lunches because we all went for such a long time and it was just such a nice, relaxing time for us where we could just sit down and just be who we are and talk about anything. So, whatever was bothering us, whatever we were concerned about, whatever work things were making us crazy, it didn't matter. Yeah, hi. Um, yes, I'm on two dating sites. I am on Plenty of Fish and I am on Match. I used to be on quite a number of them, but that was only because I had signed up for one, but they had sister sites and they automatically signed you up at the time for the others, so I was on a number of them. Our Time, when I was on a few years ago, and when I was on Our Time, I got some of the most disgusting messages, and there was no way to report them. So I got off that one very quickly. And it could be regional, it could be different in different parts of the country or different parts of the world. I have no idea how it works. Um, I find there is a difference in the men that the different sites seem to attract. There seems to be a more, I shouldn't say more, there seemed to be a certain part of the guys, at least in my area, once again, the guys on Match seem to be a little more intellectual and have different kind of life paths than the ones on Plenty of Fish. I feel as if you get guys who are really down to earth on Plenty Official, at least the ones that I've met. Once again, that has to be a caveat because it could be totally different in different places of the country. But I think it's a wonderful thing. For me, when I joined a few years ago, I joined, but I never had any intention of doing anything about it. I put my toe in the water, but when people contacted me, I didn't go out with anybody. I would interact with them a little bit online, but I didn't do anything past that. Hi, Gina. Nice to see you here. So it was only when I was ready. You know what they always say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I think that's the way that it is. And as I say, so the interesting thing is when I did it a few years ago, there were all kinds of crazy people on there, or at least that's the way it appeared. Now I'm having much less of that. Does that mean that they have policed it much better? Maybe not. Maybe it's just because I was ready for it that I started to attract people who were equally ready to have relationships. And it seems to me that some of the people that I am attracting seem to really want relationships. Some don't. And, I'm sure there are people on both sides of that fence that want a meal ticket or want somebody to take care of them or want somebody, there are still the people out there who would like to separate you from your bank account. But I think there are a lot of really decent people who are looking for that feeling of connection to somebody else, that nebulous feeling that we call love or attraction or whatever it is. Sandy said she must not be ready because most of the people she sees are hooked up to respirators. Um, yeah, no, I waited until I actually met him until I totally fell apart. But yeah, so it's been a good experience for me, and I'm very grateful for it because there are many things still in my life over which I don't have the kind of control that I would like to have. I really wish that I could, but not yet. And it's just nice to have this. The free sites definitely it it's different people that you see on the free sites. Really? Yeah, I think, and again, I think maybe if you've been on a while ago and you haven't been back on, it might behoove you to take another look because you just don't know. That Bumble thing, I think it was Melissa who had first mentioned Bumble, and I think somebody had mentioned that Monique Parent had met her significant other on Bumble. I think it was Bumble. I could be wrong. But Bumble for me did not work at all. There was some really great guys the first time I looked on there, really classy guys, and then they were gone. Apparently, they want you to pay. So if you pay, I gotta move this because my neck is starting to hurt. Oh, we're gonna have twin neck issues. Um, Toothless hippies. Oh, that's not good. If you were in the world being, oh, it is. It is absolutely. Now, the interesting thing is, aw, yeah, this was only one of the conversations we were having tonight, Gina. Um, yeah, right. Well, the kind of married you are is sort of not, I mean, you have the worst of both worlds. Um, Forgot what I was going to say. Totally forgot what I was going to say. Did it have to do with Bumble? No, I don't remember. In any case, as I say, it's just been a good thing for me to get out there in the world, and I highly recommend it for anybody who is hibernating in any way. And it doesn't have to have anything to do with dating or dating sites. I think that sometimes when we get older and as we start to have things that go wrong, we tend to hide out a lot, and we find many excuses to make our world smaller and smaller and smaller until they're really very limited. And I don't think that's good for any of us. I really don't. I think we need companionship. Humans were made to have relationships with other people. Would I would I marry? It's funny. He asks me that all the time. I I had not really thought about it. I think I think I might. I think I might. Oh no, yeah, I've gone out with several. Yeah, it's very hard, Myra. And the easiest thing for us to do, exactly, the easiest thing for us to do is to retreat into ourselves. And it's the worst thing that we can do for ourselves because we choose it's insidious and it happens. It's almost like it sneaks up on you. You just start to do less and go fewer places and interact with fewer people. And there are good excuses for it. Friends move away. They I'm just reading the stuff. And we lose touch with the people that we work with once we retire, and all of the people that we thought were friends turn out not to be friends. It has nothing to do with it. Yes. You have to push yourself to get out of it. And you're right, it has nothing to do. And some of the loneliest people that I know are married, but they no longer connect. And because they don't connect, not no, no, not concerned about it at this moment in time. I think 55 and over, yes, the 55 and over communities are good. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people do move. And I think that that is the truth. Yeah, it really is. And I think the thing that makes it, you know, I think we tell ourselves stories, and I think we convince ourselves that we have no choice often, or that, how I wish things were different, but I can't do anything to make them different. And it's too bad I no longer work. It's too bad I no longer have the mobility I had. It's too bad I no longer feel close to my husband, wife, significant other, whatever. It is easy to fall into the trap. It is just so easy to fall into the trap. And then it's as if you're sitting in this little bubble and the world is going by. It's going by on either side, but you're not part of it. Well, it's I think we have to push ourselves, whether it means getting involved in a group that does something that you enjoy doing, if it means that you do volunteer work on some level, if it means that you go out anywhere, you just have to get yourself out. Let me tell you a funny thing. All this time of being alone and feeling alone, and again, I interact with, did in my job every day, all the time. I went to the thrift store. When I went to the thrift store and I was leaving there, they have a deal with, there's a pizza place a couple of doors down, and they have a deal going with them apparently. Oh, my neck is killing me. Maybe I'm feeling his pain. they have this pizza place, and well, yeah, but there is more to that, Chris. So they have a deal with them where if you buy one slice of pizza, you get one free. I'm a sucker for a free whatever. So I went in to get pizza. Now, mind you, when I came out of the thrift place, was pouring. It was absolutely pouring cats and dogs. I could not make it to my car. I went in with the shopping cart because I couldn't make it to the car first. So I walk in and this guy says to me, "You can't bring the cart up to order the pizza." And I said, "Why not?" He said, "Believe me, you can't do it." So he said, "Push it in here in the corner, and I'll watch it for you." And I'm thinking to myself, sure he will. He's going to make off with my stuff. And then I won't have the stuff and I won't have the ability to get it sold and the whole thing. So I order my pizza and it's taking forever because he's picking up the phone in the meanwhile. There were two other people there. There was an actor in the early days of film called Step and Fetch It. I don't know if anybody will remember that or have heard of it because my father used to tell me about it. And, whenever somebody was slow and didn't get things done, he would say, "Step and fetch it." So that's how I felt about how the guy was working at the pizza place. Finally, he had my pizza ready, and I started to walk back to my cart. And I said to the guy, "Thank you very much for watching it." And I started to pull it away, and he said to me, "Don't leave." He said, "Why don't you stay? Have your pizza here. Sit down. Let's talk." Here was a guy in the pizza place who was interested in making a connection. So, as I say, this is what I think it is. I think it is absolutely when you are ready. It's just, it just happens. I want to see what, yeah. I think one of the things, Chris, that I would say about that is somebody had told me, and I forgot who it was, so if you're on here, remind me. Somebody had told me that it was a really good idea to join meetup groups. That way you're interacting with people who have similar interests. And I joined a number of meetup groups. So that's a way of doing it. I don't know how it is in other parts of the country here. There are all kinds of groups that do things in libraries. There are certainly the senior centers and all of that where they do things. But if you don't want to just interact that way, there are so many ways. But we have to make that first move, and that's a hard move. It's a hard move. It's so much easier to say it just can't be done than to actively do it. Yeah, I think, it may be no connection, no connection, no connection until there's a connection. One of the things that Paul had said to me about this whole dating thing, he's been doing it a lot longer than I have. Uh, aw, yes, yes, it is so important. Um, yeah, I have to stop reading this stuff in between. Somebody get me back on track. The Oh, he's been doing this dating thing a lot longer than I have. And he had said to me, "You meet a lot of people, but you don't make a lot of connections." And it really is true. There are so many people who, for one reason or another, are not right for each other. And yet, so many people who lose a spouse and go to bereavement groups wind up meeting somebody at the bereavement group. Why? I believe it's because they're ready to meet somebody and because they can't stand being alone and they can't imagine facing life alone. So you reach out to other people and oh hell, I just got I just got a notification come across the screen from Match that somebody and I are a match. So I'm not going to show it, but I will, if you don't mind, take a real quick peek because I am fascinated to know. So bear with me for a minute. Oh, I forgot we're a match. Okay. Yeah, it's really interesting. I seem to do very well with the older guys. Um, Peek and share. He's an older man. I mean, he seemed really nice. I think this one was from Connecticut. I'll look more at it later. But the way to make a match, Myra, is they show you different options, and apparently they show the men options, they show the women options. And if they have two things you can do. You can X them out. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, and you have a right to really enjoy the kind of people you do. But so if you don't X them out, if you hit the heart button, which means that you like them, and then they hit the button when they look at your profile, your match. That's what makes a match. And the reason that I hit the like button on a number of them, hi, how are you? The reason that I do that is because they then send you more people like that to look at because they have thousands of people on there. How can you possibly get connected to the ones who may or may not be right to you if you don't get to see them? So, oh, I can understand that. I know they do. That's Jen, that's horrible. Yeah. Jen was saying that she tends to stay home more often since her only child, age 46, died a year ago. She can't seem to come out of the pain fog. People do treat me differently since the passing of my only child. She says that I believe that they treat you differently because they don't know what to do, because people get really uncomfortable around the subject of death. It frightens them and they don't want to think about it and they don't know how to react to it, so they don't. And I think that's part of it. And I think that your feeling in a fog and out of it is so understandable. Whenever you're ready to reach out, I pray that you do, because I really pray that you can have a connection to the outside world. The pain that you have is going to be with you on some level forever. It just is. But you still have to live in the world that you're in. So anything you can do to help get you to a place where it's even the tiniest bit more tolerable would be so helpful to you. I really hope that you can. You know what, who was it who said, that when you do something, when you first start to do something, fake it until you make it. And I really believe that sometimes you have to do that. You have to you have to pretend if you are not really able to experience the feelings. I can't tell you how often I was in a social situation where I felt so alone, as if I just didn't belong.